Board of County Meeting. Please join me in the pledge. Yes. Motion and second. Any discussion? If none, we'll call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to the consent agenda. Thank you.
Today I had the meeting minutes from June 17th. Accounts for expensive partners, and Bennett and Stuart Pina. Resolution for Anthony Thompson. I have a bonus count for Robert Gilbert. I have bid number 24-19 for Randy Dean. In the protection 2023, in the total amount of $2,109.54.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Spillier. Commissioner
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Moving on to public comment. I don't see anyone signed up. If you're on the agenda, you don't have to sign up, but is there anyone else in the room who would like to address the board? Is there anyone online? Moving on to appointments. The first appointment we have today is Carrie Mondler with the Walsenburg Gym status update.
Hello.
Morning, Carrie.
I didn't have a chance to get my report into your packet, so I'm just reading it now. Dr. Huerfano, I guess.
I don't know.
Okay, let's look at those. Imagine looking at the back. Everybody hear me? Great, so this is, I guess, my quarterly report. I don't know whether we do this every quarter or not. This is the second quarter. BOCC Fitness Walsenburg opened, as you may know, on April 1st. Highlights since our last meeting is we've extended our hours 7 days a week, 5 in the morning to 11 p.m. We have made some staffing adjustments to help with sustainability. So we're now staffed weekdays 7 a.m. to noon and 3 to 8 p.m. As we have grant fundings, we're upgrading equipment. The last 2 pages of your handout shows the equipment we've gotten and installed since April. One of those pieces is before we opened. We're actually having 2 more pieces installed today. This morning, one is they call an arm bike. It's an upper body cardio exercise bicycle. It's ADA compliant, or more than compliant. It's wheelchair accessible. So, and even if you're not in a wheelchair, it's a great way to get some upper body cardio exercise. The other thing that they did today is it's a multi-purpose machine. It's a combination lat pull down, right curl, pec exercise, and chest press. So we think those will be just actually replacing another machine that didn't have some capabilities. So I'm hoping that those will be a nice benefit for our members. That pretty much takes care of the grant funding we have right now for equipment. So that's what we have at this point. We upgraded our phone system to be able to get text messaging. We noticed a lot of people don't like to answer the phone, but they do get texts. We've updated our website capability for enhancing our online signups. And we have been working on a flyer that Erica actually started for us, going out to Walsenburg residents, everyone within the city of Walsenburg. That is being mailed from the printer this week. So we'll hope to get that in Friday and see if that happens, but it includes a membership promotion for the month of October. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Membership's going up slowly. We're still not at the number we project for reliable financials. That's 96, we're at 87. One of the challenges we have this month is when we first opened, we did a membership special. Some of those were for 6 months, and so we have 19 of those coming up for renewal next week. We already know 3 that aren't renewing, so we'll just kind of see what happens. Because every month we get, it's 6 new members this month. Just kind of depends. The handout does show the gym memberships going up since we opened. We started at 67. We're now at 68. We're now at 57. So that's good. The usage is estimated since we still have another week left in this month. This is just showing our usage since we opened up really high. Don't know if we'll get as high in September in August. School started, summer over, it's kind of see. Historically, our slowest months, and we'll beat it anyway, are in the fall and the spring. So we'll just have to see how it works out. We got our first review on Google, 5 stars, unsolicited. So we're like, do we post that on Facebook and then we get a bunch of reviews we may or may not like, or do we kind of just say to people that we know will give us good reviews, hey, I'm on reviews on Google. But this person, I think, got a day pass and really liked what we had. I was talking to somebody at the Spanish Peaks Clinic yesterday, and she said they're hearing really good things from the people that are about the gym. So, I mean, people do know about us. It's a matter of lifestyle changes to say, hey, we have this great thing available. Let's start using it and come up so often and often. So it's a routine. Really is a ultimate update. That's what we're about. I've included our state and financial position over the last 6 months. What I can say about that is September, and this doesn't show up in the balance sheet, our membership income was just under $3,000 and our salary costs were $3,100. So we are closing the gap in payroll. We did have some other expenses. There, sometimes there's supplies every month. Sometimes we have things that don't happen every month. So, for example, we had insurance to pay this past month. So that's part of the things. Are there any questions?
What is the monthly membership?
Sorry?
What is the monthly membership fee?
It depends. Normal fee is $40 a month. We have a number of discounts. For example, county employees, city employees, hospital employees are $35 a month. Students are $30 a month. Couples are $70 a month. We also have low income memberships, which are $15 a month. We have 16 low-income memberships this month. And we had 12 in show. That's going up a bit. 19 of our members have those 6 month memberships that are up for renewal. Actually,
And there's silver sneakers too.
we have silver sneakers and we have renew active. And so we have about 40 silver sneakers members and a little less, about 32 renew active members.
What is a silver sneaker?
That's a great question. If you are 65 or over and have a Medicare, eligible Medicare Advantage or supplement plan, you can basically, part of that plan pays for a membership, your membership. So they don't pay us anything. We get a slight reimbursement. We get silver sneakers pays us $3 per visit, up to $20 a month. But we think it's very important for older people to have a way to stay fit, because the longer, I would put it, so the longer they're upright, the better their quality of life and the less cost they have on services to the federal government, state, county, and it just ripples down. I saw my parents go through a decline. I don't want people to have to do that.
I have several friends that go there regularly.
Oh, wait for you.
Spend most of my time with the shovel.
Wait, there's still silver sneakers to see.
Eric is a member, and we'll see when you get your doctor's
After I
clearance.
get up for the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor's clearance and check out that arm biter.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out that.
Doing pretty good.
Any other questions?
I think so. I saw your or heard your updated ad on KSDK, so that's great with your new hours. So I heard your updated ad on KSDK with your new hours, so that was good.
Right.
And, we'll continue to try to get things out to our staff, letting them know they get a discount for being a county employee. And I'm working on our memberships for our office going effective October 1st. So hopefully we'll get you close to that number.
That'd be great.
You're right there. It's exciting.
We've also, it takes a while to build this up, but we're trying to get classes going in the community center. So we now have 3 classes, 1 day a week.
Good.
So that's on, they're updating KSBK as we speak to all our those classes. Wonderful. And that will always vary. You just can check the website or call and say, what are the classes and what are they? Right now we have a Qigong class, we have a senior stretch class, and we have a strength training class. I guess is the best way to call it. Those are all one day. And they're over at the community center. So thank you, Carl, for making, or actually your staff for making that available.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a lot easier to have a class when you have a separate room and you don't have the noise from people working out, and particularly Qigong, which is a type of meditation. Kind of like, no, you don't want to do yoga when there's noise around. You need to be able to focus and be able to meditate. So that's very important.
And they also offer, they have classes in Bermuda and also you can get a dual membership, right? So you pay a little extra and you can go to either facility.
We do have a dual membership, so you can use for an extra $15 a month. So you can work out at either place. We have just updated our policy on classes because the classes in Bermuda are so different from the classes in Walsenburg. If you remember either location, you can go to classes either without paying the extra $15 or $5 day pass or whatever.
I think having the nights getting a lot longer, having the lights on there, really neat to see when you go there. So all
It's on Main Street again.
Yes, and there's something open after 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
In fact, one of our busiest times is between 7 and 8 o'clock.
Well, that's great.
It's really slow after that. I mean, we are open till 11 and, if anyone works for the sheriff department, they have 24-hour access just because their schedule is, different. So, I mean, we're really trying to be, accommodate all the, various needs and schedules.
Appreciate that.
And we are, of course, deeply appreciative and grateful for all the help from the county, not just community center, but for Lester and Lester, et cetera, for helping us with issues. Another leak on the roof. I think he's putting a more permanent budget request to address that for next year's budget because it's an old building that has a very new roof. Hopefully there'll be funding available for that. But definitely appreciate all the assistance from the county and getting this going and ongoing support.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Anything else? Questions from the public? Wonderful. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We have appointments for the coalition for the unhoused athletes. And we have Detective Sergeant Jennifer Lay. That's just the from the newspaper.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Detective Sergeant Jennifer Lay. I work at the Trinidad Police Department. I'm going to read part of our press release and then give you a little bit of backstory and answer any questions that you may. So the Los Angeles and Huerfano Coalition for the Unhoused is excited to announce its award of a 2-year grant from the Community Solutions International. This is vital funding that will support the establishment of a systems coordinator position dedicated to addressing homelessness across Los Angeles and Huerfano County. As both counties face growing challenges related to homelessness, the need for a coordinated effort has never been more great. The systems coordinator will lead a comprehensive strategy to reduce homelessness by optimizing resources, enhancing collaboration among local stakeholders, and implementing evidence-based solutions. The systems coordinator will be crucial in uniting local governments, nonprofit, healthcare providers, and community members that builds a shared vision for reducing homelessness in Southern Colorado. This position will focus on expanding access to affordable housing, enhance supportive services, and leverage data-driven initiatives for long-term solutions. The funding provided through the Built for Zero Case Investment Grant will enable the coalition to begin recruiting for the systems coordinator position in the coming days. And that information will be available with Marcy Keys through Keep Trinidad Safe. The Coalition for the Unhoused is committed to addressing homelessness in Southern Colorado through collaboration and partnership and evidence-based strategies. By bringing together local organizations, government agencies, and community members, the coalition is working towards sustainable solutions for individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Securing the Community Solutions International Grant marks a pivotal step forward to turning that vision into a reality. To give you a little bit of a backstory, about a little over a year ago or so, I presented at our city council in Trinidad, just noticing that there's a large problem of homelessness and an ever-increasing problem of homelessness in Southern Colorado. And it hit home for me, and it also, due to my profession, I dealt with a lot of things, or I'm still dealing with a lot of things related to homelessness. So I had asked our city council if we could create a group, and a few months after our group was created, I was actually connected with a few people in Huerfano County, one of which is Robert Gilbert, who, if I could sing his praises from every rooftop, I would, because he's a rock star of a person, and has really launched our coalition even that much further into the goals that we have to try and provide solutions for homelessness in Southern Colorado. So you guys are all very blessed to have such a great employee here. But I understand for any questions that you may have in regards to the grant or the coalition.
We're briefed by Robert and stay pretty in touch with what's going on and just appreciate you and all your time and your efforts. I know we reviewed the, applications. Do you have any questions to look out for about that?
Well, I had some things I need clarification on, but I'm sure if I can pull it together right this second.
Happy to answer questions later too.
Yeah. I need to clarify some of that just to make sure I understand the electronic.
Again, it's thanks to Robert.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ours is true.
Well, I think that our communities coming together is extremely important because the state of Colorado, the balance of state continuum of care has put Huerfano and Los Angeles counties together. So it only makes sense for us to partner and collaborate together. And so I'm happy to be that spokesperson for Los Angeles County. And I think Robert's a great representative for Huerfano. So. And I'm available if y'all have any questions for me as well. He's got all my contact information, but I appreciate your time this morning.
Yes, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Okay, next on appointments, we have Ecotech Biofuels of Linda Rose. And her team.
Do you have the ability to do a spell check? Okay, great. That's why I was.
You have it on the drive, managers?
We have any what?
Do you have it on the flash drive?
I have a similar. So if I expel, I don't know if I need to send it.
Yes, I just, it doesn't look like it.
Did you send it there?
Yeah.
So it's just this one. Would you like to take the opportunity to introduce yourself and your team?
Yes. We'll just skip back.
And then you'll pull the slides up on the screen for you.
Thank you so much, Commissioners, for making time for us today. My name is Linda Rose Myers, I'm President of Ecotech Fuels, and with me is Ann, our Chief Technical Officer, and Astrid Pimmers, who's one of our financial advisors. So, can you give her the section? Will I be able to advance it, or will you just go through?
I'll share screen and then if you just say next slide for me, we'll do it that way. Give me a moment. I just got to the email.
Can I share it? I need to be on there. Okay.
He's gonna share it for you.
Okay. And how would you share it?
I'm going to put it up on the screen here.
Okay.
And you'll be able to see it and it'll be on all the screens.
But how can I advance the slides?
Oh, you say, if you just say next slide.
Next slide. Oh, to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Right.
yep. No problem.
That's fine.
Do you do that screen or this screen? And if you want to spin the screen to the audience so they can see it. Is the okay from the audience?
No.
As it slowly dreams back.
Move it. Slide. Slide. Okay.
almost ready. Thank you.
Yeah, almost. Well, I'll start talking. So we're here to talk with you today about our Real Brands Outfit project, which will solve some problems. I grew up in Colorado Springs and had a great childhood out in the woods, up in the mountains with my dad. And then working up buses, I had were 8. And doing that, the forests were unhealthy and green, and forest fires are very rare. And they would be very limited. And so, but all of that has changed in recent years. We don't need to be thinking about, but the U.S. Forest Service supports our efforts. What we're going to do is to take the dead and diseased trees out of these forests before they catch fire and convert them to sustainable aviation fuel, which is how we get to zero carbon in our aviation industry. So we're solving multiple problems with this one project and creating other jobs. So we're going to give you some details about this. So I'm really grateful that we have one of the best chemical engineers in the business right here, Dan Parker, who's worked on. You guys never how many of those plants you worked on?
Over 1,000,
Yeah,
you know, the exact number, but quite a few.
yeah, he's been doing this for a very long time. And so in the list of grants and awards and loan guarantees he's received from the USDA DOA is so I'm very lucky that he's part of our team, and he's one of the reasons why we were awarded the U.S. Forest Service's maximum wood innovations grant for this project because they're desperate to have us do it. We'd like to next talk about yeah. So the forest fires in this state have never been like this. Last 5 years, they're just horrendous. And you know what happens when one of these fires burns your forest? It essentially sterilizes the ground so that no trees can grow there again. The only thing that can survive is brush. The only way to get trees to grow again is by remediation, some sort of nutrient restoration of that, and that's something we're going to get to a little bit later. Next, please. So if you drive east to west, as I've done many times recently, through the southern half of Colorado, you'll see mile after mile of standing trees. And they're just waiting for lightning strike or some careless camper, and the whole thing can go up. And it's extremely hazardous, for us. The U.S. Forest Service expects this to continue to get worse in 2 years. Thanks. Historically, there was only one really severe forest fire in Colorado every 230 years. How often are they happening now? A lot. So here's my personal story and why I'm so passionate about this project. My dad was a no-nonsense aerospace engineer at Martin area. He was one of the guys who figured out how to get the N2 off the ground. And of course that led to the Gemini space program. And my dad taught me some values. He taught me that if there's a big problem, you gotta figure out how to solve it. And I've inherited that tendency, and on the end, darn sorry. I won't see this through. And I'm so grateful that we have some wonderful supporters, two of whom are at the national level of the U.S. Forest Service. So this is our personal mission to accomplish this. And so now, next, please. Dan is going to tell you how we're going to get this done and what the plan is for this project.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Elizabeth. So what we'll be doing is collecting forest residuals, which is downed and beetle killed, diseased trees, slash from logging operations, as well as potentially brush and other biomass type matter. that's available in the region. For the first 5+ years, we'll be concentrating in the Rio Grande forest and at that point also developing other sources as we kind of move our capabilities to collect this forest residual. It'll be densified out in the field, close to where it's collected and loaded into rail cars and brought into town. We're looking at a site west of town near the old power plant as a potential location right on the rail line. So the rail cars will be brought into town. The material will be dumped and fed into what's called a gasifier. What it does is it kind of burns it, but it burns it without oxygen. So it creates a gas called syngas, which is hydrogen and carbon monoxide primarily. The advantage of the syngas is it's the perfect raw material to synthesize hydrocarbons. So you go to a process called Fischer-Tropsch. Again, probably not to do too many technical terms, but the Fischer-Tropsch process basically takes the carbon and the hydrogen and recombines it into paraffins, waxes, hydrocarbons, basically. Then there's kind of like a mini refinery that refines those hydrocarbons into diesel fuel and jet fuel. The jet fuel will be the primary product. That's about 90% of what's produced by the plant, and that'll be shipped out by rail car to blenders who will blend it with the other materials needed to make a true jet fuel, and then taken to Denver International or whatever airport that is purchasing the fuel. There'll also be a small amount of diesel fuel produced, which will be a green renewable diesel, and that'll just be sold as diesel fuel on the open market. The fuels produced are what are called drop-in fuels, which means they're chemically identical to the petroleum-based fuels, so there's no difference. You couldn't tell the difference one to the other. They're identically similar. So that's one of the advantages of the process. It doesn't produce like biodiesel, which is a chemically different material. It produces a true fuel product. So there will be rail cars coming in with the wood and then going back out to the forest.
Yeah, comment. So the short line bringing in the biomass will be coming in the western side of town. So it will go west of Luxembourg. Yeah. So it won't, that traffic won't be coming. So next, the next slide, please. So a quick look at the project. So we've only completed about one, which means we've determined what the process technologies will be for this project. And we got our EPC provider, Black & Beach, which is one of the most experienced in this field. We know exactly what we're doing. We have an off-taker, APG Fuels, which is will provide logistics support. We're also in talks with Southwest Airlines, who's very interested in getting it. United Airlines wanted it. Delta wanted it. All the airlines wanted it. I had at a convention 2 weeks ago, a representative of the government of Mexico said, "Can we buy it for staff? We need it down here." By the way, the going price for staff right now in the US is $9 a gallon. Guess what? In Europe, because they have a mandate, the airlines are required to put a minimum amount percentage of staff in their tanks, and there's very little that we made right now. It's a huge demand. You can get 6 times that price in a year, but we prefer to keep our own skies clean here, so we're not going to be dirty. Yeah. So if you just have a look at the cash flows, you'll see that the debt service ratio is quite healthy. Investment banks look for a 1.5 plus debt service coverage ratio. Ours is quite a bit more than that. So, we have a good solid project from a financing point of view, and the DOE has offered us 90% loan guarantees on all the debt for the construction fund. So what we're looking at right now is finding the funds to help us complete all the L2 and 3, which is where we complete the engineering design, the detailed engineering design, and all the permitting, because we have to have all the permitting in place before we next. So, we have a little bit about this. I already discussed a little bit, but we can be honest.
I think you covered it pretty well as far as the supply. Utilities is one of the key issues that is very important to this plant. It does use a bit of water, which obviously water is probably the most scarce resource that the plant has to have. There's also some natural gas use just during startup and shutdown. For normal operation, it's actually a self-sufficient operation. It generates its own gas. It's byproduct gas that comes off of the refining process, and we use that as the heat source. So it's pretty much self-contained. It also generates a significant amount of excess heat, which we turn into steam and use in the process, but there's more steam than we can use. So we take that steam and put it through a turbine and generate power. The plant itself consumes maybe 3/4 of a megawatt of power, but it will generate during operation about 5 megawatts. So it's a net green energy producer. And so that's 4+ megawatts of power will be wheeled back into the grid as green power. During startup and shutdown, of course, it will need external power, but once it's running, it will produce its own power, be pretty self-sufficient. Yeah, water is primarily used for cooling within the plant, and we estimate that during normal operation and with a lot of recycling of reusing water as much as we can, we'll be using about 114,000 gallons per day, maybe peaking at 140,000 at most, but on average about 114,000. And wastewater produced will be roughly equivalent, a little bit less than that because it is some evaporative loss. So there will be wastewater. We'll have our own wastewater treatment facility in the plant to at least bring the water to a certain standard where it can be either discharged to a sewer system or used for land application of watering crops or the golf course across the street, something on that order. So there will be that wastewater that will be available. And again, it'll be cleaned up throughout. It's not very dirty to begin with because it's non-contact cooling, but it does pick up some salts and some chemical additives that are put into it to prevent corrosion. So those will need to be treated before it can be discharged.
And there's potential for us to even use wastewater from the water treatment plant. If water becomes an issue, we can actually take that water and treat it ourselves.
Right. We don't need clean water. We do need to meet a certain standard with the water, but it doesn't have to be potable.
And we want to be really sustainable and very responsible. Anyway, next, please. So, probably great importance to this area is the economic impact the project will have. Just the salaries of our employees will be about a little over 9 million. And that'll add, if people have money to spend, it actually helps everybody, all the businesses for restaurants, more places of entertainment. And so during construction, approximately 200 construction jobs for the duration of the construction, but full-time employees at the plant, at least 90, probably more than that. And I've been in management, technical management most of my life, and I believe that if you treat your people well, they will really do their best, allow themselves out to do their job. And, we will be very generous with benefits and make sure everybody's safe, everybody's safety training. And I'm thinking we might have a professional nurse, a licensed professional nurse practitioner on staff. So if somebody doesn't feel right, they've got a cut, they can just go see her for free. That also helps people stay better attendance. So the jobs multiplier impact of project like this is really high. Every job created, 7 more will be created in the community. Because a lot of businesses will be needed to support them. You'll need uniform services, cleaning services, you'll need maintenance, you'll need more banking, legal, real estate, you need more houses. I mean, it's going to be a great boost for the entire community. And we're having to, pay our fair share of taxes as well. I believe if somebody's really motivated, working hard, and they have potential, train them to do something, the next level. I'm here to grow our own talent. I want to work with local schools, the community colleges. I need to actually hire an intern, paid intern, a business major, certificated technology, a relative, sister, daughter, sorry about my phone, who's interested in being part of sustainable renewable business. Like to hire that person and help them grow with us. These are the jobs. Next slide, please. These are the jobs that we recruited for, and we're hoping that we can recruit people from Southern Colorado for these. I'm especially partial to hiring unemployed service veterans, people who want another chance. So you see there's quite a long list of good jobs here, from entry level to chemical professionals. So Dan can talk about the mitigation measures for each of the environmental concerns that some people have had. Would you like to go through some of those that you should?
Yeah, I don't know how's our time?
Okay.
Or too long. Yeah, there's been some initial comments on noise, dust, pollution from the plant, and it is a large industrial facility, so it has all of that. Yes, it's kind of a combination between a sawmill, power plant, and a oil refinery, all sort of mashed together. So it has all of the normal issues you'd expect in those sorts of facilities. Of course, it'll be designed to the very latest code for the standards and best practices in the industry for safety. We'll be doing a lot of measures to make sure we mitigate any noise or dust, anything that might create a disturbance in the vicinity. Lighting as well. It's a 24/7 operation. Because of that, there will be lights on the facility to be able to work at night and that. So we'll have to work at shielding either through shield walls or other methods to make sure the light stays as much as possible in the facility and not reflecting out into the local community. So there's a number of mitigation measures that we'll be going through in that. As well as a number of safety practices, all the standard practices of double or triple containment on all the tanks and anything that's holding materials that could potentially spill or leak. making sure all storage is above ground so leaks are visible and that there's monitoring constantly of all these systems to warn operations if there is any kind of a leak or problem with the plant. So we'll be looking through all of those issues, and it's all part of engineering and safety system.
So Sam Ferris was kind enough to take us to see the site that we're planning to buy. We're getting it under contract today. So Sam, talk about the benefits of the layout in terms of hills and everything to shield the community from being seen.
Sure, and I think that it's just like that. There's the right topography on the lands to the west of town. There's the right location. There's not a lot of development around there. It's very low density. There's a few homes, but after we got to tour the property together yesterday, I got a really good feel for what Dan was speaking to, which is their knowledge of that they're going to need to go in and do some mitigation. Like I see it all over now. They put up these big temporary walls or semi-temporary walls for construction projects like this, mining projects or whatever they might be. I feel good that it's in a good part of town and it won't be a big eyesore. And it's also going to meet all of their needs: the railroad, the highway access, the gas, water and sewer, power, and the land is usable. It's pretty much meant for a project just like this. And it sounds kind of familiar because we've seen another project similar to this. But after meeting with Dan and Linda, and getting to know them more and seeing what they are doing to advance this, I have a really good feeling about this project and the people who are behind it and the means that they have to bring it to fruition. So I'm very excited for them because I know this project will likely open the door, be a catalyst for a lot of other things that we'd like to see around town: growth and more housing can probably come into the picture finally. Reality of more development for the sake of our shrinking and building town. I think that there's some concerns with maybe what the city might help with water resources, but I also think that we can counter any concerns with that. The family's resources, that we have a few water resources ourselves and have offered that. And I also I'm prepared to offer a long-term contract. We're basically already there. Linda and I have already realized that we don't have any obstacles to overcome when negotiating with each other as much as just kind of getting everything dialed in and refined, or I should say designed to accommodate her needs. And we're prepared to take this ride with her and make sure that she has the time to go out there and get their funding and make it happen. So hopefully, and I think this is one of the biggest challenges that I see. Someday they'll get their funding, and I think this project then could happen with a guy like Dan and this wonderful lady like Linda, who are obviously very well invested. I'm very excited for this project.
I do have a question. So this is north of 160 and east of like Andrew Oil Service. Is that what you're talking about?
West of. Yeah, that's right. It's kind of just right behind the old power plant. It's
So
really
you'll
in the
access from
transfer station there.
160, not
Yep.
Second Street. Okay.
So one of the things that we're hoping to be able to get some answers on is this is the old coal mining fields over there. It shouldn't be too hard for Humphrey to get its own to the industrial. So can you help us understand?
Let's see what next is.
No.
Okay.
So are you planning to annex into the city?
We have a good feeling about working with the county. So, we're listening to you, what you think we should do. I think it's probably better if we stay county.
It's preference thing for you mostly.
As long as we can get the water we need, I think we would prefer to stay county.
The city annexed the south side of the highway and okay.
Yes, and they stop at Barnett Oil Service or one of the oil services. So we don't go that far. So I think the zoning change in that area, as long as it meets the criteria, as far as size goes, should be an issue. The county is in the final stages of our comp plans. One big question I have for you is, what's your timeline?
So we wouldn't actually start construction for probably 9 months to a year.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of engineering to be done before construction starts, as well as a lot of the equipment is very long lead, like a year to get it on order and have it produced.
And we have to do a lot of site work. There's no access to everything else. We really need some help with getting a road in there, and hopefully you'll help us with permissions for those things, because we just have to grow some hills and rocks to get to look at. So that's another thing we have to do.
Yeah, so in that kind of time frame, I don't think it's an issue to have the zoning done in 9 months, so we can do it.
So we have to, we're working on the environmental table. Do we need that transportation?
For land use, I think they're a little bit disconnected.
Yeah, and just on top of my head, I don't think it's qualify as their activity of state interest. I'm not certain of that at the moment. I want to double check it, but in that case, we of course we want to do environmentals and everything, but I don't want to say that we need them. If this is not an area of activity of state interest, the permitting process, so and all that, might take 2 months, maybe 3 of them all in.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. We'll be starting the environmental work within the next week or 2 here. So we'll be doing all the initial assessments and making sure everything is as it should be. And there's no, obviously, project killers in there. But
Are you going to be our contact person with those things?
Sort of.
Okay,
So
can we get everybody's contact info?
Yes.
So maybe we know.
Carlton actually already has it, so he'll make sure that you have our information. We probably work with Sherry Richard with common DNA contact for zoning things, but I'll be helpful guy in the process of overseeing it.
Wonderful. I don't see your name, like,
Carl Young, County Administrator.
okay.
And then as far as infrastructure, we'll get work with Carlton and you guys to come up with a list of what we need as far as public infrastructure. And we'll come with a plan to get that accomplished. I don't think it necessarily would, depending on what needs to be done, and I think there are some requirements, but other than that, we probably plan it to the commissioners in a while. I'll talk about it.
We will also need to build quite a few railspurs to accommodate all that.
So that's actually one of my questions. If and how many real spurs around.
So that is still Union Pacific line right there. So we'll need to talk to Union Pacific and get an idea of what much challenge.
Right, exactly. Well, so, railspurs to accommodate the shoreline. And the short line has already said that they're having work with us. Somebody brought them, I'm trying to do Union Pacific asked for an address and a town on it. So I think she would.
Might have to use a little power plant address or something.
So that's where it is. And, we can work more with you. So, we have a few more questions, but I just wanted to say a few more things. Next slide, please. So we talked about the burn scar areas. So one of the things that I really want to do is to help remediate this area so the trees can grow there. So this would have to be a nonprofit part of our endeavor, but I believe there will be U.S. Forest Service funds available to help us. So what I want to do is get an algae specifically designed to act as the best soil amendment for those bird scar areas. So everyone is talking about CO2 mitigation. some people are pumping it underground, they're doing all kinds of weird things with it. I think the best way to deal with the CO2 is to feed it to the algae, because then you're producing something that can really be beneficial. So that will help to greatly lower our carbon intensity score, which is, you can get lots and lots of money for having a very low score. Tax credits, energy tax credits. But this is actually, I think this is the right thing to do. And I will personally help sponsor Reclaim. Is my personal mission. So the result will be an overall greatly improved environmental, fewer forest fires, reclaim, cleaner fuel in our jet engines. So Aon Risk Solutions is our insurance provider to, so they have packages to cover so many different aspects of this, from 2 days to, let's say, there's a catastrophic blizzard and you can't produce or get fuel out for a month or something, which is unlikely. But they will cover your output so that you can keep paying your debt, paying off your loans. So they will also provide investor-backed insurance for any investors that step up. We're working to put together a group of high net worth families that need, this is a certified economic opportunity zone here. And any high net worth companies, family businesses that want to minimize their tax liability can take advantage of that. Because helping us investing in this project will get you some highs, tax avoidance. So next slide, please. The total construction cost is about $327 million. And as I mentioned, the DOE's loan programs office, most of what we're doing, they're promoting staff. The entire country is desperate for it, so got lots of support from the DOE. So, any questions for the audience? Or from Mr. Bruce?
I just want to say that I like the idea of, well, I actually grew up in the Rio Grande Forest, and I too grew up
Really?
in Creek. And when I was a kid, I remember those forest being in Creek. It is always frustrating me to see old forest fires go there, and I can remember even the $1 million fire there in Southwood. I remember when that burned to this day. So I like that.
Yeah.
I love the idea of creating and creating fuel at the same time, generating electricity. It sounds like it checks all the boxes. And I also like the idea of sequestering carbon into trees. I always thought it's really dumb to just try to pump carbon underground and just pump a tree. I have a degree in horticulture and I actually did a project in school on carbon sequestration. Why are we doing all this?
Thank you.
I like all
Any advice or feedback? I'm very receptive to any good ideas. I'm sure I haven't thought of everything. Yeah.
all of them. We even have a substation in San Isabel.
Right.
It looks like it checks a lot of boxes.
Thanks, Mitch.
And actually, there's even more options that help, because I know the NRCS has a new program. We have affected us property also that has been burned, and I've seen the after effects of the flooding and everything goes along with it. But NRCS has started up a new program where the flash tiles from the tree mitigation, all that kind of thing, you can't have anything on your property. So do you have any ideas about allowing people to bring in from the community, like the ranchers, things like that, so they can bring it in and maybe even on a payment basis or something of that nature to be able to bring in their slash and their different
Absolutely.
tree falls
Serve everyone, not just the national forest. And after that little piece came out, a little paper I heard from the Trinidad Ranches Neighborhood Association or something, and saying, we're rated 5 for fire moving down here, and we applied for some skate forestry money and wild money, and we just need to work with a provider that can help us. And they said, will you help us? And we can tomorrow. So, yes, so I just, you know, what makes me happy is solving problems in you know, in a good way.
Yeah.
As many as possible.
Yeah, well, there's a
Carl's later.
Okay. Yes,
I
and
need
you
to
too,
cover
please,
everyone.
please, all of you, any ideas you have, and further research. Thanks for it.
And we definitely talked about putting a local, wood waste tipping station at the facility where people could just bring in a pickup truckload of brush or whatever. We take care of it. And then with all the other biomass. The plant will consume about 500 tons a day of dry biomass. So it'll probably be a pretty minor portion of the feed that will be coming from the forest. Anything is a help.
I thought that you were on a future or past agenda for city council. You guys spoke with him, city council.
Tonight, you're giving us a few minutes.
And then have you, or maybe Sam knows, is the raw water line a possibility?
So what I know, the family, we have a 6-inch water line right over there near the site. The last time that we dived into, there was water there at the Andrea was out drilling. And we were looking at boring under the highway to take it down Fairfield. And so I think there is a water line there according to the city and sewer, according to the city, and then the gas is there. The city had concerns about losing pressure if they had to ship a bunch of gas down the line, but according to what Dan's saying, I don't think it's going to be an exceptional amount of gas they're going to use. It's not true, like it's a startup or shutdown. And then they would like to try to annex, if anybody, this was at least when Justin Stampon was the administrator. A lot has changed since then. His take on it was anybody who's going to get water in the future is going to have to annex it with the city. They're going to make them in order to maintain control of the water resources. But I think that we can sort of confront that a little bit with what water resources we have. So we'll see how that goes for them. But I think that they are likes to try to stick within under the county's wing instead of going to the city. The annexation might be kind of a challenge that he brought that up because it doesn't quite join town. Maybe it may or may not join the annexed part of town, and that might change how they perceive that. According to the way annexation works, I guess you have to have a certain amount of contingency with the city in order to add a certain amount of lands to it. And there's some kind of formula behind that. Something I learned, I think Dan Walker was trying to explain this to me. I think that is reality. So there may be some things the city might not be able to hold them to the plans of annexing there. I'm hoping. Carl made a good point about all the slasher stuff around town. I just want to throw out there, one of the things that we're dealing with on all of our waterways is this prolific with sumac or Russian olive, and it's overgrown where ranchers and people can't access the riverways as much as they used to. And it's also something that I think is hogging up a lot of Colorado's water resources. And I think if we started to eradicate a lot of that sumac and, has a place to go, like a biomass facility, we're going to do,
Yes.
squeeze that, combating some of our problems. Just a thought there that it all seems to be very well in alignment, so I'm pretty excited. Just like the transfer station and how they're going to put power back, everything seems to be very in alignment with that property. Fingers crossed it all goes well.
And then
Can I make a few comments for somebody?
Absolutely.
Okay. Wallace Bradley, Chair of Economic Development. And a couple, 3 things maybe I should have started, but anyway, wherever it fits. We were getting quite a few inquiries about our area, and we tried to see when they come in, if we could meet their requirements and what we can do
And just so that everyone is aware, we're meeting with city council tonight to talk some more. We made inquiries to them about the water needs and the electric needs to San Isabel. And the part about them being able to generate electricity and put it back on the system, based on some other requirements that we're trying to satisfy for other potential employers in the area, could be a big deal. Okay, we are going to need, if we are able to satisfy some other industries that have an interest in this county, we're going to need significant electrical needs. So in addition to water, which is always right at center to all of us, because I like to drink water, and but the fact that a lot of this goes back into the system is a big deal too. Okay, so the fact that they're using a lot of water, but they're putting it back and it can be reused is kind of an ideal situation in water consumption, because the amount that they are consumers use is small compared to the amount that they are requesting. The amount of electricity that they can generate is positive for we have. Oh, I talked to two yesterday, and Carlton talked to one other potential employers in the area that are looking at different properties, and electric needs are going to be a big deal. Okay, to meet some of their electric needs. Water, not so much, but electric is going to be a big deal. So if we can find industries that wind up being compatible and supportive and actually generate some of the resources that we need, and all do it in an environment that we all find pleasing and desirable, and a place to make it still a place we want to live, then yay. And that's the objective, I think, and that's what ACE's been looking at, and why we continue to go through these. And we don't want to be operating in a vacuum, so we are bringing them to you as we get them, as when we vetted them to the point that we believe that they deserve the hearing. That's why we're bringing them to you, so that you can have the opportunity to ask questions, understand the needs, understand the requirements, so that we can continue to do this in an organized and logistically appropriate fashion. So I don't mean to take any more of your time, but I just kind of wanted you to know how this is kind of happening, with Carlton answering the phone and both of us and the board working together to try to make things happen in this county, to be able to increase the economic development, which will increase. Just as an aside, I walked through town the other day and there are 32 boarded up buildings on 7th and Main. Okay, wouldn't it be nice to have all of those occupied and thriving and doing some things? It can happen if we get.
Let's find one that we can have our offices.
Right, so if we can, so if we can, do the things that we need to do to create the service industries that would be on Main Street, we all win.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, is we all win. So anyway, I just wanted to give a little perspective of how and what and how come, this came up, and we thank Carl for being open to meeting with us on a basis. You got a good one here, okay? And so, and you kudos, because you deserve it. So we appreciate it, and I just wanted to kind of give you context, not trying to make your decision, just give you context.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for that.
One question, have you guys spoken to Edit already?
To whom?
Oh, Edit,
We've got a meeting next week.
Jeff,
We're gonna start with Wendy.
tell Wendy that this is appropriate for strategic fund request. So it might be good to give Jeff a heads up from the beginning.
Okay, I can do that, I got to call in.
Okay.
That's something we need to first participate in.
No, we'll work with you on that.
Okay. Any other questions for us?
Thank you.
Thank you for your.
Thank you very much.
Let's do this questions or comments.
I can move on to looking for land use and moving on to the action item.
So first action item I have here a single unit with the state regarding MED. This is how we exchange information with the state for MED licenses, for your licenses. Sherry, you want to add anything?
No, it's just, so that we get all the tax information, make sure that what we're getting is paid to us and also to the state. So we get their 15 and we get our 5. And they provide good information on a quarterly basis.
Commissioners, should we come a couple little changes here? But I will request your approval, this new round with the chair and I, the authority to start.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Sport?
Yes.
Chairman Rivers?
Yes.
Motion passes. We're going to start with Commissioner 301, inside public sector in the amount of $3,606.41. This is for the malware bites. We're purchasing it through the state's contract with inside public sector, their NASPO contract. This is our input protection software for all of our computers.
Make a motion to approve purchase order 301 2016.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Spiller? Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Chairman Rivers?
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have the contexture software agreement for the county coroner's office. Would you like to delay this to the time that she can come and talk to you about it? Okay.
She did let me know that we want it to be signed before September 30th. Just so you are aware.
For the worst case scenario, we're looking at $900 a year.
That's concerned about the agreement, about that, but if you want to, what I can do is have Nate to review this, make sure that nothing catches a lot. And I can make sure I give you another good one, so we'll make sure that nothing like that, problematic.
We may entertain a motion to the effect of approved, once we get the agreement from the attorney administrator. Motion?
All right, just make a motion to.
Yeah.
To do so.
I'll second motion.
Motion and second, any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Rio?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller?
Yes.
Chairman Rivera?
Yes.
Motion passes. This is have here a report of urgent for monitoring services. This is an annual fee of $600, plus a one-time $5 self-service call. This particular charge is for the alarm monitoring at the new center. So we of course had Convergent go and install these new systems at that facility. So this would one allow them to test all that out to be sure they work with them. And then we can consider if we want to continue this year over year or replacement events for instance, most advantageous for us. Ensures that system keeps it running.
I'll make a motion to approve on cases.
Second.
I have a motion in a second. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood. Yes. Commissioner Wardell.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Should next have your request to apply for a Huerfano Parks and Recreation District meeting grant, $15,000 from Chairman Park as part of the capital link to the DOLA Energy Impact Grant, submitted by the county in the summer. This part will go towards submitting the completing left for rehabilitation and also into the safety operational funds that park. The total project is $390,000, of which $195,000 from DOLA.
And the recommended motion on page 8, that is the recreation.
Can, reapprove that. I did, they verified some of the, benefits for the other grants and it's don't be able to take us. Great there. Work that better than that for sure.
So PSC's raised some money,
Just to verify some of those other folks.
so we will have to revisit the 15 from, so the original budget was for 30 for Parks and Rec, the max is 15. And the relationship has kind of changed how they're going to operate, so that 10,000 is evaporated. So that's another 25 that we weren't necessarily counting on.
Unless it's again.
Yeah,
Maybe a difference on that.
there may be, so the county's current commitment was 92,000. I would say that we'll find out probably maybe in October whether or awarded the double grant or not. I think we definitely go find some additional money from our foundations, we'll close the gap. And PS is able to some more money for it, but the application deadline is coming up, so I'd say that October 1st. So if we don't get the grants or we don't have the accounts that we want as part of the budget process, then we will just cancel the project. That would just be the specific vote to report, but we're sort of already in the budget. Maybe to give you a look at it, that is to keep going after more.
The yeah, to verify the request. Over Parks and Rec. Work with Jerry on the part. Be able to apply to repeat the grant. Subsequent other grants. So we got then we'll go for that.
I'll second that.
Your motion in a second. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. Next, we have another request for the Brooklyn County Parks and Recreation District, mini grant application of $30,000 towards the interactive information kiosk to be placed around the Raymond Area Community Center. This project will be sort of steered by the RACC Advisory Board. But we're taking over the Northern County Communication applied for the grant, so not necessarily our knowledge with this project. It led to, well, eventually the project just cut the money back and said they're not going to fund it. They were supposed to get a letter from us saying that we approved the project, which they just got lost in their shuffle. That's why we're submitting this now. They, I believe, have a great match for this already, and another game they have. I can't verify this one, but I've looked at each program. But how it basically works is we do have some money set aside in the trust fund for kiosks and the areas between the pavilion and the wall tournament. If, depending on what River Community Corporation has, if they create tournaments, if they budget for it, determines how big this is going to be. Knowing it's about our staff builds, that'll probably be fairly cheap on the high end, the sort of more expensive project that HCC has envisioned. That's great. Yes. This is another one that is very much in the.
I'll make a motion to approve the application to the Department for HE Special District. $750.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Spiller. Commissioner Reynolds.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next up, your request to approve the application submitted on behalf of Boulder County Funding Services for a homelessness resolution program. Zero match. Basically, this program will allow DHS through the Family Research Center to use the funding to offer short-term rental assistance or arrears programs, rent that they fall behind on, to payment assistance, housing search and placement assistance, education costs, community engagement, and other program management programs. Basically, as a way to help resolve homelessness, give DHS a lot more tools to use in their arsenal and help bolster some of the programs that they already have that the county as well as what is it implemented. So our goal here is to reduce the occurrence of homelessness in the county and to help make sure that we can help add tools to our arsenal to be self-sustaining and not all further into poverty. This is 100% great money. There's no local match.
Resolution or make a motion for the sister resolution program grant application.
A motion and a second, any discussion?
Yes, this is the one here. Right?
Yes.
Thank you for all the, this. Eventually, people are going to come to us. Basically, I like it.
That's the help. So they can,
You need to see how many families are already enlisted.
Yeah.
Motion and a second, any further discussion?
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller? Chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you a agreement from American Fidelity. This update certain policies that American Fidelity offers to county employees. So that we're going to update our quick wellness policies that we have. They've made some changes to those program plans, adjusted some costs, and that is what is before you now. It's the ability for them to offer those to our employees at Monroe.
How would you like to see it?
Motion to approve the agreement with American Fidelity Assurance Company.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with American.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Spiller? Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioners, next I have for you your September 25th vendor in the total amount of $243,191.70.
Vendor,
$43,191.70.
Yes, 248,000.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I appreciate having some of the tires. Work vehicles, really managing. And then.
And I've reached out to Melanie and asked her to start giving me that information. So,
I appreciate that.
Any further discussion?
Commissioners Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Chairman Jordan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, this is your question number 304. It was yesterday, is actually wrong. Vendor actually represented kind of incorporated in the amount of $11,000. This is for support for economic development activities, like the meeting that just had this morning with EOTech Biofuels. HCD is working with us on the housing container and the operator of the facility. There's been some miscommunication with EDA, and what's commercial, what's not. So they've expended money that getting reimbursed. And this would help them continue to operate, continue to get the program running until they resolve that with EDA. And
I'll make a motion to purchase order 304 with Economic Development Incorporated. The contract.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Chairman Jones.
Yes.
And that is the next one.
We have staff reports.
It's budget season, so I don't have a report there for you. I'm gonna have been meeting after this meeting, we'll go over all the sorts of course about it, the minutes.
And the drink. To correspondence.
Okay, first up, you have your August 2024 treasury report. And you have a letter from the Office of the Auditor regarding our 2023 audit. Kim is still working with the auditor on that. We're looking forward to having it done by the end of October. I don't know whether that's listed or not, but we're doing everything we can to push the auditor forward and getting done as soon as possible. Next, you have a memo from John Groff, the Public Tax Administrator, regarding state assessed property. Then you have your 2024 property assessment study. The audit, this is the audit for the County Assessor's Office, which was passed with point covers. And then you have your August 2024 financials. I will note that the expenditures are still not in balance, but we're getting closer and closer. So I feel comfortable giving you one report this time, so that breaking it off into you and stamping it on it. I think we are not quite balanced. And then last, you have your your lead balances as of our last payroll on September 13th.
We don't have an executive session. So if there's nothing, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we have questions right here.
Hi, Eric.
Eric, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I had one question on action item 7E. That was the approval to apply 7E. I caught that it passed. Did it pass with conditions?
It passed with a request that we make before we commit to anything. that we make sure we have the capital stack fully built out.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last part of that. Before you committed to anything, you sought what?
We have the capital stack fully built out. We have everything budgeted.
I'm sorry, your audio is still breaking up quite a bit.
That we have everything budgeted.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussions? Before adjourning, we do have the administrative workshop immediately following. And that will conclude our business for the day after that. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All the votes.
Commissioner Burnett?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff?
Yes,
Motion passes.
adjourned at 11:03. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful